Welcome to the NLP Talks podcast, bringing you inspirational stories along with a good dose of potentially life-changing NLP strategies. I'm Laura Evans, multi-award-winning NLP trainer, and I'm on a mission to help you unleash your potential in business and life. I'm so glad you're here. Pull up a chair, listen in, and let's get started on revealing more about this transformational NLP toolkit. Welcome and thank you for tuning in for yet another amazing NLP Talks podcast episode. I'm Laura and of course your host, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce today's guest, Helen Corsi-Cadmore. Helen started her NLP journey back last year in 2020. The week before lockdown happened in March, she had baby girls, twins. Having gone through a 5-year fertility process, Helen was suffering with postnatal depression, and I was completely unaware when she was on the course. And it was that weekend that Helen started to make the changes that led her to say that NLP started the change to save my life. I still have a frog in my throat when I remember seeing the text message when she told me that. Helen now uses her NLP skills to help other people going through their fertility journey, and she'll share with you her needle phobia and how she now helps other people to get rid of their needle phobias and a whole host of other things around mindset and fertility. Helen has a second business where she does coaching in business, and she's also going to share how the NLP goal setting technique has transformed her business success and how she helped a lady get a job. After 20 years of no interviews, Helen worked with her with NLP and she nailed that interview. So let's get started and go across to where Helen starts to describe what life for her was like before she joined me on her NLP course.
Pre-July, I'd been through a massive whirlwind in my life. So on our fertility journey, we'd taken 5 years to try and get a family. And in that time, unfortunately, I nearly lost my life twice. So I had 2 ectopic pregnancies. We lost 3 angel babies along the way. And it was just really, really tough. And the whole fertility journey, for anyone that doesn't know, can be really kind of mentally and physically challenging. It's draining. The whole experience is draining, and it's really quite negative. So you basically feel like you're not in control of anything. You can't control anything. You feel really rubbish that you can't start a family naturally, and you get all these real and negative emotions. And that was like 5 years, and overcoming a massive sort of trauma as well with my first ectopic pregnancy was it just took over my brain, took over my life. Life was like heavy. Life just felt really heavy and like overwhelming. And it was like a bit of a dead weight. So that's all I can explain it really. I'd also in that time, I was selling my business, coming out of a 5-year business and not really knowing what I was going to do next. Kind of like, oh God, where I am in the world. Don't know what I'm doing. What path am I going to go on? Oh, all those things that look back now and think, God, they were so small fry. Now I know NLP, but it was so big. Everything was, huge at that time. And obviously then March, as everyone did, 2020, went into a global pandemic. You just can't write it. Not only just having twins, huge life-changing experience anyway, and then going into a global pandemic. So, everything shut down. It was just insane for everyone. But from a mother and a new mum and a new father point of view with my husband, we had no support. We had nobody. We weren't allowed anyone in the house. Nobody to come and just hold the babies while we have a shower. It was just horrendous.
And how old were the girls when the pandemic first hit?
So they were born a week before lockdown. They were a week old.
Right, just to give everybody some perspective here. So Helen and her husband James had twin baby girls a week before lockdown, and then no one's allowed in their house. Like, Helen, how did you do it? Like, seriously?
Well, honestly, Laura, we didn't. That was the whole point. And NLP, I'll talk about it a lot, really did save me and change my life, because yeah, we couldn't get in the house. You know, there was nobody allowed. We weren't allowed to go out for not that we probably would, we couldn't go out for a coffee. It was just tough, really, really tough. And my husband, James, he is the most positive, laid back person you'll probably ever meet. And he'd actually booked on to go on the diploma, the NLP. He did it online.
That's right.
And he came off that course and he was like, Hal, you've got to do this. Now, James says a lot of things to me that he's like, Hal, you've got to do this, or let's do this. And most of it, I literally go, yeah, okay. Yeah. And we don't end up doing it. But this, I could see his whole, he was just absolutely buzzing. You know, I could see he absolutely loved it. And I thought, okay, maybe I should take a look at it. And so it took me to, well, actually, I'll take that back. He booked me onto the course. He said, I booked you onto this. You're going on it.
Yeah, you did. I remember he booked you on.
He booked me on. And I was like, right, okay. But
you got it done now.
I know. But secretly, I was so excited to be able to leave the house because we were allowed. You know, it was a pandemic, but it was for work purposes as well, you know, and we were allowed to go and have in-person training. So that's what I did. Booked onto the diploma, and July turns up, and it was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Just before we get, because we'll come on to the courses obviously very shortly. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you came on the very first introductory course, for those of you that haven't heard about the diploma, we don't run it live anymore, sadly, but it is available as an online course. And it's an introductory course. It's a weekend course that people can book to come and dip their toe in the water and find out a little bit about me and NLP and so on. But I remember that very first text message you sent me, and you said that when you came on that diploma course, you were suffering with severe postnatal depression.
Yeah.
So, and that is something that I don't think is talked about enough. Like, you know, IVF, postnatal depression, like all of these things are, as soon as you get people into a conversation, you go, oh yeah, I had IVF, or oh yeah, I really suffer from that. But it's something that as a society we don't talk about. And I think that's really sad. Yeah. And I know you're on a mission to change that.
Yeah.
But before we come on to your mission and what you do, just like for the benefit of the listeners of the podcast, like what was going on for you in terms of that kind of label, as I would call it, in NLP? But you know, you clearly were not well by the sound of it.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I really wasn't well. I didn't really want to carry on, in all honesty. You know, I didn't feel that I wanted to carry on with life at that point. I was that low because looking back, I do often think, was it the pandemic that had that impact as well? Because we didn't have any support. Yeah, but I was really sad. I was really, really sad. One of the things that really got me was I was really sad. And I had these two beautiful babies that we'd taken 5 years to get, been through all the trauma we've been through. But actually, I didn't want them. And that for me it made me think, right, something has to change here. Something has to change. So yeah, it was a really heavy part of my life, really heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm sad. And, you know, everything was very irrational, and there was lots of fear around everything as well. So lots of emotion.
Guilt
huge,
as well.
Huge part. Yeah, huge part. You know, even speaking to friends that also had young babies, you know, they were going through similar experiences. And I've got friends that still can't have children. And there was a lot of guilt that I got these babies, but I didn't want them. I needed to get out, and I couldn't. Yeah, so it was a strange time.
Yeah, we all felt trapped. But I guess, you know, again, I mean, as you know, I haven't got kids, and you know, I haven't been through that journey. But so I can only imagine what that must have been like. But you know, you've got newborn babies, two, not just one, two of them.
Yeah.
both hugely needy, and I can only imagine that feeling of being trapped. All of a sudden you've got these two human beings that are relying on you, that you're not even sure now you've got them, really whether you really want them. And I know it sounds awful to say that, but that kind of like, I'm not sure how I feel about this, and no emotional support, no physical support. You and James kind of in it together. Obviously, he's away working a lot. And you were on your own. I mean, like, I just know. Like, as someone looking in on that, I can only start to imagine how awful that must have been.
Yeah, it really was. And they were sick babies as well. So they were born premature, but they were lucky enough they didn't have to stay in hospital. But when we got them home, they suffered with colic, and they screamed a lot. And babies scream, I get that, but it was really, really, really horrible. Yeah. So, and you see all these perfect pictures of people going out to coffee shops and their friends are holding their babies, and you're having a lovely coffee, and you're cushion their babies. Probably none of that happened for us. So it was, going from having nothing to chew to being. I felt that I'd lost control of my life. That's exactly how I felt. Yeah, I lost control of my life. Yeah.
And hence you wanted out,
I wanted out. I wanted my life back. I wanted to be able to go to the gym. I wanted to be able to do my exercise. I wanted to do the things that I thought that I could do, even with children. And in reality, that's never going to happen.
So this feeling of excitement that you then had, because you'd got these 2 days, the babies were 4 months old when you came on the course. It was probably the first time you'd been away from them for any length of time. I remember us having conversations on the course about how James was going to cope, because he's got the girls all to himself all weekend, and he went to his mother's, and and it was all because it was a little bit easier at that point, wasn't it? And all of those things. So kind of like you're going through a really tough part of your life, really hard, you're not sure you want to be here anymore, and you come and spend 2 days on this course, and inside, as you said earlier, you're secretly excited about what's going to happen. So talk us.
I was secretly excited, sorry to interrupt you, about having a hot cup of coffee.
Serious
hot cup of coffee. Bonus.
I'm sure a lot of the parents will relate to that. Oh, I love it. So you so James booked you this course, you rock up, you're kind of excited, you kind of get a couple of days to be Helen again, and come and meet some other adults and hang out. So give everybody sorry about the noise in the background, road sweeper. What can I say? Apologies, people. It'll disappear in a moment. So tell everybody a little bit about like that course. So for you, like when you walked into that course, what were you expecting to get out of it?
I was expecting to feel how James felt when he came off his, because he was literally, the only way I can describe it was he was buzzing. He was like, how, doing the smallest of techniques will have such an impact on your life and on our lives and other people's lives. And it's just amazing. And when I walked in, I thought, Laura's going to do that. I knew as soon as I saw you, I thought, right, she is no messing. There's no messing with you, which we know.
Absolutely.
But also I knew I was going to get what I wanted to go in, and I wanted to come out feeling amazing. And I absolutely did. Yeah, absolutely loved it. I felt like I was hungry for life again. I felt like I was hungry for more, and I wanted more.
Wow. Yeah. If you think so, if I think about that change in state for you over 2 days, from I don't want to be here anymore to I'm hungry for life again. Like, is there a moment over that weekend where that switch kind of flipped for you in your head, or was it just like a gradual thing?
It was kind of a flip that. Do you know what really, really took to me was that everything is content free. And I didn't really understand what that meant before I came in. So I didn't have to sit there and pour my heart out and tell my story to get the results I needed to get. It was fast. I love the fact that all the techniques were fast. Some of them weren't easy to learn. They absolutely weren't. And, practice, it takes practice. But it was content free, so I didn't have to share my journey if I didn't want to, and they were fast. And I haven't got time to be spending, days trying to get over things, months. I need results fast. And that is, for me, probably light bulb moment. This is great. It's fast and it's content free. Amazing.
I love it. And it is. And it was, to be honest, it was, similar for me. Obviously I wasn't in a great place, as people will know, have heard my story, but I was exactly the same. I was like, oh my goodness. So you can help me with NLP, but I don't have to tell you everything I've been through, and you can help me feel better. And I don't have to tell you about blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no. Yeah. And the wonderful thing I like saying to people, and if you start telling me the details of your story, I'm going to ask you to be quiet. Because I don't want to hear it, because I don't need to hear it. And it just wastes time, because actually I just want to help you. I want you to feel better. I want you to feel like you've got the reins of your life back, and all of that stuff.
That's it. And I've been to I've had counselling in the past, and that's not what I wanted to go through. I didn't want that drawn out process. Not that it didn't work for me at certain parts of my life, but I didn't want to go through that again. I wanted to actually get rid of it all, not keep talking about it. I know, Lo, you've spoke about your journey, that people keep telling you to tell the same story. And it's like, I don't want to relive it. I didn't want to relive it. And that's what I found on that weekend, that I could not relive what I've been through and not feel the emotions that I felt going through that, and feel good quick. And that was what was game changing.
So when you sent me, going back to the very first text message you sent me about coming on the podcast, and and I'm going to read for the benefit, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to read for the benefit of our listeners the tail end of the text message that you sent me. And essentially what you wrote was that the NLP techniques that you started learning on that weekend literally started to save my life. And that phrase has stuck in my throat, literally. Like, I say it now and I get all emotional, because that is such a big, bold statement to make. And, and then you went on to say, I just can't thank you enough, and Helen, and a lot of the people listening to the podcast know how passionate I am about helping people. And to me, to think that I had even a smidgen of influence over you feeling better about your life, to me, I'm just like, oh, wow, and I just, so just for the benefit of everybody else, like, what does that actually mean to you, that phrase?
Oh, God. Do you know what? When I wrote that, when I sent it to you, it was just obviously to say thank you. But also I wanted to be able to share my experience of NLP so it would help others. That's exactly what I want to do. And that's like, throughout my whole life, I've always helped others. That's just what I've done. I'm like, that's my passion, helping others and seeing people succeed. And that's what it was. So that sentence for me was, I want to tell people how amazing NLP is, so you can feel it and you can move on with your life and move forward, instead of being stuck in a place of just, I can't swear, but it's just stuck in a place that you don't want to be. Oh, you don't need to be. Yeah.
And that's the thing, isn't it? You don't have to be, so many of us, and I think, so many of us have had trauma in our life in one way, shape or form, and it can have you held stuck, can't it? Like, you feel like the reins of life have been taken away. You feel like you have no choice. You feel like, this, I remember sitting there one day thinking, is this all life has got left for me? Like, is this how the rest of my life's going to be? And sitting there thinking, this can't be what life is about. No. And it's, and as you said, I didn't want to do all the content stuff. I didn't want to spend hours and hours, months and months, potentially years and years going through therapy. I didn't want to do it. I wanted somebody to be able to just help me feel better. And like you, I was so pleased when I stumbled across NLP. I was like, where has this toolkit been in my life?
And it's such a big toolkit. There's so many, obviously we can't go into it now, but there's so many different things that you can use. Oh, it's just unbelievable. And so many different situations and scenarios. It's fabulous.
So I'm conscious, here we are, 20 odd minutes into the podcast already. I told you we'd run out of time. So I want to move on. Because I want to talk about your two wonderful businesses that you have. And obviously, just to inform everybody for the record, obviously Helen has gone on to do a lot more NLP training. So she's not just done the diploma, she's done the practitioner course. She is a certified NLP coach. She's done timeline therapy and hypnosis and all the other training. So she's done a lot of NLP training with us, and in the future is going to be doing our master prep program. So she's got a massive toolkit now that she's learned through all our courses. So just to kind of caveat that before people start thinking, oh, I only need to do a 2-day diploma and I'll be able to do what Helen does. There's a little bit more to it than that. But so I want to talk a little bit more about, if we can talk about you as a fertility coach, first of all. So you've got your lovely business, IVF Essentials, and I know you're hugely passionate about helping other people on their IVF journey. So I'd love to hear a little bit about the difference that your NLP toolkit has made to that business that you have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm also obviously a fertility coach now, as you said, got the experience. And fertility in itself, as I mentioned at the beginning, is challenging. It can be draining, exhausting, and it comes from a place, unfortunately, of most of the time, negative emotions. And the way I use my NLP now is actually to focus on the positive and the what ifs, what if this happens, rather than, it's not going to happen, or the don'ts, what if? And it's about reframing the mindset. And I had a needle phobia myself, like really bad. So James did all my injections for me on my journey of IVF, and I'm fine with needles. So I've used NLP personally to get rid of that phobia, and I've used it with clients. So this is one of the techniques that a lot of people going through the journey don't like needles. So there's a really technique we use just to get rid of that.
And it's funny, isn't it? Because again, as someone that's not come across IVF in a big way, it's not something that I computed. So a friend of mine did have IVF. So we used to work together, and we're still in contact now. And I remember actually I was working with her on a contract. I'd gone to do some work for her, and this great big brown box appeared at her desk. It was a delivery that she'd had to work.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a bit of a big box. And she was like, yeah, that's all the stuff I got to inject into myself. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
She was like, She said like, and obviously all about this, I don't, but there was various different drugs and various different regimes and things like that. And she said, I've got to inject myself every single day and blah, blah. And I was like, wow, I had absolutely no idea. And if you then have overlaid, like, it's awful for anybody to have to do that, but to overlay then the fact that you have a needle phobia and you basically have to traumatize yourself on a regular basis, like, to me, you sit there and go, oh my God, why do they not share this like fast phobia model to help people with needle phobias so that at least it's not quite as traumatic?
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things you can tick off the list as being the challenges is gone, there's loads of other things that come with it. But yeah, absolutely. If you don't know anything about fertility, and obviously I won't talk about too much, but yeah, the needle thing is a big part for a lot of people, not for everybody, but for a lot of people. Yeah. And, like I said, using the fast phobia, you just get rid, get gone, and move forward.
When you did it with the client that you did it with, like, for people that are listening to this podcast who know nothing about NLP, and they hear you and I just sat here casually talking about this NLP technique called the fast phobia model. By the way, if you don't know about the fast phobia model, go back to series 2 of the podcast, because I did an episode all around the fast phobia model. But so just to give people a sense of scale, how long did it take you to get rid of that phobia for that person over the needles?
The actual technique.
There's the pre-framing that we have to do to set everything up. And obviously that takes a bit of a while to make sure that the point of pre-framing, for those of you listening, is to make sure we teach the client what to expect, what we need from them, and how we can best help them get the best results. So that takes a little bit of time to do that and building rapport with the client, which is really important. But if we just look at the actual technique itself, when you got what I call get down and dirty, getting the technique actually done, how long roughly do you think that took?
15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
Amazing. And to someone listening to this on the podcast that's never come across NLP and never come across being able to get rid of phobias that fast, 15 minutes. Like, if we consider how long some of us have had some of these fears, remember in NLP, the definition of a phobia is an irrational fear. And years and years and years, and in 15 minutes, you helped that person on their IVF journey. And, like it's helpful for everybody to get rid of their needle phobias, particularly in the pandemic, as we're all having our COVID jabs and everything.
Well, absolutely,
but I'm not being funny. I've had both my jabs, and they were 8 weeks apart, and it's one injection. But when you're having to do this every single day, I'm just like, wow. That's going to so help.
It was, and life-changing for that person as well, because especially if you have to go through numerous rounds of IVF, it's not just one. So they know then for their second, but unfortunately, if you have to go through second, third time, then they're already in a good mindset for the next stage of their journey. So it's fantastic. Seeing the results from that person, that moment when they tell you and they actually do the injection, when they actually physically do it, and the feeling they get and they tell you, you never forget that. You never forget the results of your clients. So
So talk to us a little bit about the role of mindset in IVF, because I know this is something else that you're hugely passionate about in terms of, what a difference it makes to your IVF journey if you have a positive mindset. And obviously that's what NLP is all about. It's helping people do that. So just, would you share with everybody just kind of like how important that is and how you see NLP helping you as a coach around that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things for me that I often come across is the confidence. So the clients that I work with the emotions is, but I'm already at a stage where things have not gone right. So I'm already coming into this feeling really negative, and it's just about flipping that mindset and getting rid of the limiting beliefs that people have that it won't work. Well, let's actually flip that. You've got a huge opportunity here to actually get the results you want. Let's actually go in with a positive mindset rather than thinking, that it's so negative. Let's have the optimistic approach, the what if, rather than the it's not going to work. It's huge. And it's often linked not to obviously IVF. There's so much more that comes with it, and it's all interlinked massively.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we talk in NLP about the mind-body connection and the role of our mindset in terms of what physically goes on in our body. Now, I'm not saying that, NLP is the answer for the mind-body connection with fertility. I'm not saying that. But I'm hugely fascinated how people in all walks of life, not just IVF, but how the positive attitude and the positive mindset that I can do this, it will work. I'm going to focus on the positives. I'm going to look after myself. Like for me, that mindset usually chooses people to make different decisions. That helps people to feel different about it. And we know that our mind and our emotions and what we do physically are all linked, and so listening to you talk, I'm sitting here thinking, well, this is like the mind-body connection right at its heart.
Yeah, it is.
In terms of how you can influence your body and how you're feeling, because again, around fertility, like I'm pretty sure that, you're going to have a much tougher ride if you've got low levels of emotion and you just can't be bothered to look after yourself and all of that stuff.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's how you're feeling will have an impact on your fertility journey. And, stress is one of the major parts of it. So if you're feeling amazing in yourself, it will absolutely feed into your fertility journey. 100% agree.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And I could sit here for the rest of the day talking about this. I'm like, I need to ask you about something else. Those of you that are regular listeners to the podcast, you'll know that this is what happens. I get towards the end of the podcast, I'm like, there's so much else I need to ask. So I want to talk about your other business. So obviously you are a very successful award-winning entrepreneur in your own right, and I know you now have a number of business coaching clients that you work with, helping them grow their business and sort their mindset and all that kind of stuff. So in terms of the impact, because obviously you've got a wealth of knowledge and experience before you came and did NLP. And I'm hoping that what you're going to say is that NLP has just further enhanced what you already had. And but I'm interested, I don't want to tell you what to say, but I'm genuinely interested because every coach's journey is different. And I'd love to hear about the difference that NLP has made for you in your business coach capacity.
Yeah, and you're right. I've got a wealth of knowledge, and what I do with that now, it has all been massively enhanced, and I can just give my clients more techniques to use, make sure that it goes in with the positive attitude, the confidence. I get a lot of clients, especially sort of startup business clients that have got the limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. I've got no confidence. Procrastination is a huge one. Oh, but what if I do this, or let's not do this, and it's the techniques now I've got, the changes from the people that I work with now is unbelievable. Like, the anchoring and the circle of excellence that we do. I was going to say circle of trust then. I was like, no, that's not.
It can be at the circle of whatever you want.
Trust of a film, I think. Circle of excellence. And just, the change in state is really important, and just giving people confidence to to go on, and they can do it, having the I can, rather than I can't. I can. It's amazing. And yeah, like you said, I have got experience pre-LP, but what I've learned in NLP now, that it just highlights everything so much more, and it's a little bit faster.
I was going to ask you about that, because that was certainly one of the things I noticed. So obviously I used to coach before NLP, and now I coach with NLP.
Yeah.
And one of the things I noticed was how much faster I could get people results. So you mentioned there the limiting belief of I'm not good enough. Now, if I was using traditional executive coaching, like that could take me half an hour, could take me 45 minutes to unpick that and get the client to seeing something different and deciding to move in a different direction. But with NLP, I'm just like, I find it so much faster, and I find the change lasts so much longer. It's not just well, I just need to choose not to feel like that anymore. I mean, that just doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It really doesn't. And traditional techniques, you fall back into those places. NLP, it just stays with you. It stays with you. Well, one of the ones that I absolutely love and use a lot is the goal setting that we use. It just life-changing. It's not the traditional method that we use. And I my goal is my goal, and I love it. And that's a really popular one with clients for me, is goal setting.
Yeah. So for those of you that haven't come across the NLP way of goal setting, so we use something called the keys to achievable outcome. And in my management development days back along, it was referred to as reverse goal setting. So very, very quickly, if I summarize how it works, what you do is you imagine yourself in the future. So 5 years, 6 years, or even a year, whatever time frame's right for you. And we get the client to fast forward the movie in their mind of their life, metaphorically, of course, to that point when they will have got that goal. And we get them to describe what's going on as if it was like a scene of a movie. And the richness of the description of where were they, who were they with, what were they feeling, like what are they noticing, like what's going on in their life at that point for them, their business, their health and fitness and so on. And it works so much better because it's designed as a goal setting technique that works for the unconscious mind. And if you don't know about the conscious and the unconscious mind, you need to go back through the back catalogue of all these episodes of the podcast, because very simply, your conscious mind is your logical thinking mind, but your unconscious mind is what's responsible for your behavior and therefore your results and your outcome. So having just very quickly summarized all of that, hopefully you guys listening to the podcast can start to appreciate that actually, if we engage the unconscious mind in a goal setting technique that works for that part of your mind, and we get people excited about the possibility of what could be in their life, I'm with you, Helen. Like, it's such a different way. When you compare to traditionally, you and I probably both been brought up on SMART and all of that stuff. You just think these big business goals that your startup clients have or whatever, it's not going to cut the mustard. SMART is all right for a task-related objective. Like I need to reduce absence. I can't get excited about SMART.
It's so dull. I'm sorry. They're just dull. It's dull. And yeah, NLP goal setting is exciting. It's really exciting. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Is there a client that you've worked with that really stands out in your mind? Someone that you've helped? Obviously, I don't want you to name them because we want to protect their anonymity, if I can say the word. Yeah. But is there like a standout client for you that you think, that's where I absolutely could see NLP would make a difference, and it did make a difference, and something that you could share?
Yeah, I've got lots actually. The one that was a really, really quick technique was for a job interview. So lots of people going for job interviews and not been for a job interview for 20 years.
Okay.
So a hell of a long time. And use the technique, again, took 20 minutes, not even that, to go through. Absolutely loved it. Positive. Did the technique, remembered the feelings they had on the day of the interview, got a message 2 days later, got the job. And they were like, it was all down to you, because that is the way I felt on that day, got the job. So it was, I get really emotional when people I work with, just message me and say, thank you so much for helping me. I love it. It's what I do. I absolutely love it. So, just there's so many others actually, but that's the one that just sticks out for me right now.
Yeah. Sorry, I put you on the spot there, but
I know. I was like, oh,
sorry, should have warned you I was going to ask.
Right.
But yeah, it's no, and it is, and I think that's I think I will never, ever, ever get tired of the joy that helping other people brings me. Like you say, those text messages, like when I had your text message and I get, other things, people just casually send you a message saying, I just want you to know that you had a hand in this result I've had in my life. And you kind of think, that's a good day at the office, right?
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing.
I just want to talk a little bit about coming back to your training, if you like, and what's happened to you, because one of the things that I constantly get nagged about by our community is that I don't talk enough about the community that we have. And it's really, really valid point, because to me, our community is just our community. To me, people, like Lynn will always say, and Lynn is our operations manager for those listening that don't know. And Lynn always said, people join as customers and they leave as friends. Like we have such an amazing community. I mean, in our Facebook group, which is our support group for after the courses, we got like 250 people in there. And then there's all the people that are not on Facebook anymore, and and all of that. So we've got such a big community now. And community means lots of things to lots of different people. And some people leave the course having made new friends. Some people like the support in the Facebook group. So I'd love you to share, Helen, for you, what does community mean for you around the NLP training, and what have you benefited from in that sense?
Yeah, huge, absolutely huge. So on my practitioner course, I saw that the names on the list and I was like, James. And I was like, oh, my husband's name's James. We talked and I said, oh, God, he can't be here. No, because he's got the girls. Anyway, and in walks my hairdresser. James, what are you doing here? Which was amazing to have a friendly face. That was, great. But my hair's actually not looking great at the moment. But I see him, we talk about NLP and it's great to have that support network. There's a lady, I won't mention her name actually, but she was on prac course with me and we've become friends and we message now and again. I often send you the voice notes, just how you doing, checking in. And also the community. If you've not done a technique for quite a while, you'll message them and say, is anyone free just to have a bit of a practice again? So, when you're really, really confident going with your clients. So the community, they become friends. They really do. They really do become friends. And even recently, somebody I met on a prac course was looking for some IVF support, and being able to offer that support was unbelievable. So yeah, the network and the community is amazing, and you really should promote it more.
I consider my hands slapped every time one of them says to me, Laura, you don't make enough of it. And it's, I like to say I take it for granted, because I don't take it for granted. But to me, I just love how supportive everybody is of each other. I love it when I see someone put a post in our Facebook group going, I've got this client with this challenge. I'm thinking about doing blah, blah, blah. What do you guys all think? And people will jump on it and they'll share their ideas really freely and say, well, I've had a very similar client. This is what I did. And then someone else got, well, that's a great idea. How about chucking this in as well? And I think that's a big difference, I think, between, the way we do NLP and how a lot of other communities do it. Because, for a lot of courses, and you and I know this from our kind of business experience. You go on a course, you do the course, you get the bit of paper, you go home and you never see them again, and you never speak to them. No. And you build such good relationships with people that friendships absolutely start. Like we've got so many different professions in our community. Well, like we actually tried to list it once.
That's it. I just want to say though, Laura, like your support as well. Like you said, when you do a course, you leave, you don't take any note of the trainer again, that's it, they're done. But your support, I think, is also second to none, because it's ongoing. And, if I could message you and ask you a question, I know for a fact you would come back to me. I know that there is that support from you, and that says a lot as well. So, really, really grateful for that.
No, thank you.
You haven't paid me to say that.
No, I haven't paid her to say that. But, and those people that are listening to podcasts that know me well, know, I do genuinely care. I've got a mission to positively impact 50,000 lives while I'm on this planet. And I can only do that through people like you, Helen. When you go and help someone with their needle phobia for their fertility, or you go and help someone with their confidence for their interview, or you help someone get rid of it, that's the only way I can have a massive impact. And I will never, ever get bored of that. And if I can spend 10 minutes answering a question, and if I can, obviously I'm in the training room a lot, but if I can, then I do everything I can to support people, because I want you to be successful, because I want you to help people. And that's my mission. So, and I love it. I kind of get disappointed when people come on the course and then don't do anything with it. And it's very rare that happens, because, so many people do go, oh my goodness, I need to share this with so many people. But it means a huge amount. So, and thank you. I really appreciate your appreciation.
There we go.
It's lovely to hear.
Appreciation.
Exactly. Cool. Right. Oh my goodness. Right. So I want to ask you a few quick fire questions, if I'm able to. She doesn't know what these questions are going to be.
Oh, God.
So she doesn't probably even remember I said this in that email, that she was going to have some quick fire questions. Anyway, let's see if we can get a few quick fire questions out of Helen. So Helen, first question. If you were to give your 18-year-old self some advice, what would you say to yourself?
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah, we can all do with that.
Yeah.
If you were to describe your experience with Unleash Your Potential in 1 or 2 words maximum, what would you say?
Professionally, amazing.
Oh, I love it. Professionally amazing. I'll take that. If you were able to go back to any age in your life, what age would you go back to and why?
Any age in my life. Okay, I would go back to my 22-year-old self, because I lived in Australia and it was warm. Oh,
amazing! Oh my God, how did I not know you've been to Australia?
No, for a while, yeah. And it was warm and I missed the sun. Oh,
yeah, especially it's a bit overcast today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit miserable.
Listen, you've been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For sharing your story, your very personal story. And I know it's going to help a lot of other people out there, to hear your story and to hear how, you've come through some quite difficult time of your life and how you're helping people with fertility and in business and all of that stuff. And I'm in awe at what you've done with it all. So,
it's from you. So thank you.
And thank you too. So Helen, if people are listening to this podcast and they're thinking, right, I need to talk to Helen because I'm going through an IVF journey and I need my hand held and I want to ask some questions, or I'm starting up a business or I'm growing a business and I want to tap into, your expertise as a really successful award-winning entrepreneur. What's the best way for people to get you if they want to reach out?
Yeah, so 3 platforms I'm on a lot. So either LinkedIn or email me at hello@helencorsi-cadmore.com. Bit of a mouthful, but that's hello@helencorsi-cadmore.com, or Instagram. I'm not generally on Facebook, so if you go on there, I know you won't find me. So either LinkedIn, my email, or Instagram.
Amazing.
And I'd be more than happy to speak to anyone. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for joining me. And thank you to everybody that's tuned into this episode. Another, I hope you agree, amazing story from the lovely Helen. So stay tuned, because episode 2 is a solo episode of me. So I've been asked many times to do a deep dive podcast session on how NLP really helped me transform my coaching. So I talk a lot about our community, and many members of our community, like Helen, come on and share their coaching story. But I've been asked to share the real nuts and bolts of what NLP did for me as an executive coach. So stay tuned. That will be coming out on the 30th of June. So thank you for joining us. Stay safe, and I will see you on the next podcast episode.